Oh, this girl. I guess I should talk about this. This girl got suspended on Twitch. This was hinged? No. We'll listen to what she says.
That sin is not an identity. And LGBT is not an identity. It's not real. It is all sin that goes against God's design. So society has called this sin an identity to normalize it. Andrew Rob, thank you so much. 10 gifted kick subs. Thank you. But yeah, the concept of sexualities isn't real. There is what God designed, which is a husband and a wife, and then there's sin. That is it. The whole notion and concept of, oh, everybody has different sexualities, that was designed to normalize sin. And that's also a slippery slope because of pervs out there who I have to be careful with.
The implication of what she's saying is that if you're okay with gay people, then some people that are pedophiles will try to touch kids. That's what she's saying. We know the slippery slope. We know exactly what she's implying. That's what she's saying.
How I phrase things because of, social media censorship, YouTube censorship. But just think about it. People can, whenever this whole idea
doesn't
of,
bother me, I'll say it.
Different sexualities. Well, that's a big umbrella term, and people can apply that to.
What are you talking about? People get mad at me? Look this up. This is an extremely common line of argumentation. This is extremely common. Anybody who's been following this discourse over the last 15 years will agree with me. If you just started paying attention to this stuff and, you're 19 or something like that in the chat, you probably don't get the context of it.
Worse and worse and worse things, unspeakable
yes,
things.
Absolutely.
Let's just say for the purpose of YouTube, all things, unspeakable things. Umbrella term, and people can apply that to worse and worse and worse things, unspeakable things. Let's just say. So
this, again, you see what she's implying, right? She's implying that because you're born with your sexuality, then anything that you're born with is okay. Well, this is clearly not true, and nobody really thinks this. There are plenty of things that people are born with that, for example, they can't do. If you're born blind, you probably can't get a driver's license. So just because you're born a certain way doesn't mean society has to accommodate it. That's never how things have worked. It's such a crazy thing to say. In Canada, you can. There's no way, right? There's no way that's true, right? No, he's dumb. Okay, all right, good. I mean, it's Canada, so I don't know, but all right.
For the purpose of YouTube, I'll just say animals, for example. People can say, well, that's my
see what she's implying.
Sexuality, they're attracted to dogs like that or something.
Yeah, but the dog didn't consent. That's the difference. It's so crazy to me that how do you not understand the difference between consenting adults and not? I don't, how is it possible that people still can't figure this out? It's nuts.
Right. So that's why I don't know, it just hit me today. It hit me, I felt it in my spirit. Sexualities aren't real. It's
I wonder what these people would do if an actual theocracy took over. Guys, who here is enough of a fucking boomer to remember the satanic panic with Pokemon? So what happens whenever the theocracy takes over and they just decide to burn her for being a witch that supports witchcraft and monsters? Why not? I mean, you want to run things based off the Bible. You want to make decisions based off what the Bible and what these books that are thousands of years old think to do. Go on ahead. But The idea that a girl like this, with tattoos all over her, that is wearing a low-cut t-shirt with what's considered to be a demon by some people that are religious, she somehow thinks that she's going to be living in a utopia if there's a theocracy. She is so delusional and out of her fucking mind. It is amazing to me. I wish people like this, we could get together and do a GoFundMe to send them to the most religiously restrictive country in the world. And then they can stay there and they'll be happy. Send them to the Taliban. Send them to ISIS. And then maybe they'll understand why things are the way they are. Did she say she wanted a theocracy? I think that's clearly what you're implying. Whenever you are implying that some things should not be accepted socially, you are also implying that those things should not be accepted through the laws, because the laws and the social norms of a society are a feedback loop of each other. And so, yes, I think that's exactly what she would say. I think that if you asked a girl like this, you asked her, do you want to have religion play a bigger part in government? I think she'd probably say, yeah. I do. And also, she lives in a society where she doesn't get harassed and attacked for the way that she behaves and dresses. So it's easy for her to say this. I talked to girls that have grown up in countries like, for example, Turkey, where they were body shamed by their own family members for wearing shorts. Physically shamed as well. And she has the privilege of living in a country where that doesn't happen. And she wants to pull the ladder up and take that privilege away from other people. We've worked very hard to get where we're at. And it's disappointing that so many regressive people like this are trying to bring us back into the dark ages. That's what I think. Devil May Cry. Oh, yeah. I think this is the Devil May Cry, isn't it? Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's Devil May Cry. I'm sure another favorite of another favorite of all of the most religious people. It's Dante. Right. Oh my God. She wants it to be less liberal, not become a dark age. The moment that you restrict what adults can do with other consenting adults is the moment that the dark age begins. And also, that's always the way things start. Yeah, who decides what's less liberal? And this is the problem that people have, is they always think about it from that perspective. Incest? I don't know what the incest laws are everywhere. I have no idea. Maybe we have some... we won't make that joke, okay? I was gonna... Yeah, no, I don't know about that. Cocaine and heroin? I would... Actually, like, if you want me to be totally honest, yeah, I would make it to where being a drug addict is legal. I would. Because drug addiction is you're a victim of drug addiction. And I would make it to where it was legal. And that way they could be treated as victims rather than criminals. I also think that you no longer become a consenting adult whenever you introduce a chemical addiction, especially one that's as strong as something like heroin or fentanyl. Now, obviously, like, there's a certain level of chemical addiction with, for example, like caffeine or sugar, but to compare that with heroin is like, it's not really the same thing. It's a completely different universe. So, yeah, either way, the girl got suspended for this, and it's very sad to see people that... It's like, I'm not really even sure how to explain the best perspective for this, but it's just very odd for me to see people. It's like a fish that lives in water complaining about a sea. It's like you don't even understand where you are. You don't understand the existence that you live in. Like, if things were the way that the people that wanted things, the way that she wanted people to be in power, if it was the way that they wanted them to be, she wouldn't be able to do this. That's it. It's out of touch. And it's crazy how out of touch some people are. Crazy how many comments agree with her, actually. There's a lot of people that agree with her because LGBT representation feels artificial in our culture, and so people are pushing back against it. I don't think that most people actually care about whether somebody's gay or not. They're just fighting a culture war against artificial LGBT representation. So, unfortunately, you throw the baby out with the bathwater, and you're also fighting against just common gay rights that I think most normal, rational people agree with. And also, you have to keep in mind that I have a global audience. There are a lot of people that watch me from America and Western countries, but there's also a lot of guys that watch me from Middle Eastern countries too. And over there, what her opinion is, that's the fucking law. And if I went over there, I would respect their laws. They can do what they want to do. That's their right. It's crazy. Decently familiar with the content, which she's definitely not saying people shouldn't be allowed to be gay or whatever. Just that she should be allowed to not like it. Talks about it a lot. You can like and not like anything that you want, and you don't have to justify your opinions to anyone. But when you put your perspective out there in the public space and you're advocating for a certain perspective in life, you should expect that other people will evaluate that perspective and think about it for themselves. I'm not saying that she isn't allowed to have her opinion. If she wants to hate gay people, that's her right to hate gay people. But if she wants to talk about why she hates gay people and why it's justify it, then it is absolutely my right, especially in a public space, to say that I think that she's wrong. She doesn't hate gay people. Sorry. What's the word for it? Dislikes their lifestyle, whatever you want to say. But is it bannable? I don't know. I mean, whether Twitch, I think that people should be allowed to say what they want to say unless they're calling for violence. Whether Twitch should ban something like this or not, I don't really care about it a whole lot. And in my opinion, I actually wish that they didn't ban this stuff as much, because I think that sunlight is the best disinfectant. I think that the more people see what people like this are talking about, and they see the transparent double standards that exist in the things that they say, I think that that actually helps way more than banning people. And I think that a great example of that is COVID. Like, there are a lot of just total misinformation things that people said about COVID, but because some things that people said, or whenever people expressed a certain level of distrust for the official narrative and then they got deplatformed, people started actually believing the real disinformation and the real fake information. And the reason for that is because people don't want to be told, I think in our society, people don't want to be told what they can and can't hear. They don't want to be told what they can and can't think. They want to be presented with what the options are and then choose for those options what they want to believe in. It's totally fine for her to be religious and have whatever opinions that she wants, but the moment that you go and you introduce those opinions to a public space and you have these just absolutely just transparently bullshit contradictions, people are going to call them out and they're going to disagree with you. I would say her comment was taken out of context by a lot of people. She's religious, and for religious people, the LGBT community is a sin. But she a long time ago told me that she doesn't hate, and as a religious person should not hate other people. I disagree. I would believe that if she didn't make the argument that being okay with being gay leads to being okay with being a pedophile, which is clearly what she made. It's clearly what she was alluding to. She didn't want to say it because of censorship. Guys, I say a lot of really bad stuff all the time. I don't have a problem with it. Wait, she said that? She clearly implied that. Any reasonable person could see this and see that she implied it.